Today's learning target is I can add positive and negative numbers. Today you're going to be asked to add some different numbers. So you can see here they started us off with -3 plus -6. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can look at this. One is you can look at that as here I have negative counters. So there's 3 of those negatives, so I have -3. 1, 2, 3. And if I'm going to add to that another -6 counter, so there they are here, if I put those together, I get -9 counters. Okay. Another way you could look at it is by using a number line. So I can see here that here I've been given -3 right here, and then I can see this amount right here, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, that's -6. So when I add the -3 and the -6 together, I end up getting -9. So it doesn't matter what the negative numbers are when you add them, you're just going to have a negative number. So let's just say I had -4 plus -2. Put that in parentheses. I would get -6. -10 plus a -10 is going to give me a -20. Okay, and so on. Numbers like 5 and -5 are opposites because they're the same distance on a number line away from 0. They're also called additive inverses. So kind of a technical term there, but that's what we can call that. So it doesn't matter. It could be -3 and 3. Those would be opposites or additive inverses. And if we add those together, we're going to get 0. Okay, 5 and -5, if we add those together, they're going to get you 0. Let's see, 7 and -7. If I add those together, they're going to get me 0. So anytime you add opposites, you get 0. When we're adding integers with different signs, we can look at doing this one of 2 ways. So I've given you a couple of examples here. One, so you can see these 2 are going to be 2 different examples here. So we could start and use a number line. So we can see 5, so we put 5 on our number line, so that's right here. And then we're going to add a -3 to that. Okay, well -3, negatives go to the left. So once we do that, we have 5, and then we go to -3, we're left at 2. So we could say 5 plus a -3 equals 2. Okay. Another way you could look at that is you could say the opposite of -3 is a +3. Right? And so 5 is really 2 plus 3. So when I add 2 plus 3, I get 5. Okay? So I could take this +3 and this -3, and they really cross each other out because I know 3 and -3 equals 0. So that leaves me with 2. Okay, same answer, just 2 different ways to do it. So I could look at the one over here, -3 plus 2, so right here, and I could start off on my number line. -3 would go to the left, so I can see right here is -3, and now I'm going to add a +2. Okay, so a +2 would move to the right, 1, 2, and that leaves me at -1. So a -3 plus a +2 is a -1. Okay, well, another way you could look at that is you could say, okay, let's see, if I wanted to get one of these, -3 or 2, to 0, let's see, I could take a -2 and this +2, okay, and let's see, if I take this -2, let's see, a -2 and plus a -1 would give me a -3, so these two, -1 plus a -2 equals a -3. Okay, now I could take that -2, it's right here, and that's the opposite of the +2, so those would equal 0, and I'm left with just this -1. Okay, so it's -1. So either way works. So I'm going to think through 4 different ways that I could solve the 4 problems that we see here on this page, and hopefully one of those you really can grab onto and say, yep, that's the way I want to think about it. Or maybe there's a couple different ways. So on the 7 plus -1, I might think of it in terms of a number line. Okay, so I'm at 7 on a number line, and then I have a -1, and I know negative always goes to the left, so if here would be my 7, and -1 would put me 1 back, so that would be 6. So 7 plus a -1 would be 6. Okay, on this -8 plus 3, maybe I want to think of it in terms of temperature. So it starts off at -8 degrees, and it warms up 3 degrees. Okay, so -8. So then it would be, if it warmed up 3 degrees from -8, it would be -7, -6, -5. So my answer there would be -5. Okay, in this problem, I notice there's three integers that I'm adding. So I can see I'm adding a 2, I'm adding a -15, and I'm adding a -2. Ooh, now when I look at this one, I see I have opposite numbers right here, and I know opposites equal 0. So these equal 0, or they cancel each other out. Now I look and I'm just left with -15. Okay, on this problem right here, 10 plus a -12, when I look at this 10, I might say, let's see, well, I know I need a -10 to cancel that out. Let's see, so I have to think about this -12 is really -10 and -2, because if I add those two together, that gives me -12. So now there again, those cancel each other out. They're the opposites, and I'd be left with 2. So any of those strategies will work for any of those problems.